welcome back. Today I've got two awesome audio modules, the Max 98-35-7 and the DFPlayer Mini MP3 player. Let's open up the Max 98-35-7A. This comes disassembled. I prefer to always order my stuff from AliExpress unsoldered because I hate to receive bent pins. It's a pain in the ass to deal with that. You can see we'll have to solder it on this one. Goes the other way around. Yeah, and this is the DF player. I ordered these because I had the idea to make a. Well, this one arrived pre-soldered, but the pins are okay. I had the idea to make a Wi-Fi radio, internet radio, using the ESP32 or 8266 or any of the other models. It's a powerful mono amplifier. It takes digital audio signals and converts them into amplified audio signals. It works with ESP32, Raspberry Pi, STM32, and a lot of other microcontrollers. It outputs 3.2 watts of power. It wouldn't work for big speakers, but for smaller speakers, that's actually great. And this one is a standalone MP3 player. Yeah, as you can see here, we have the slot for the SD card. It has a built-in digital to analog converter, an amplifier. It can play MP3 files and WAV or WAV, or how you call them, directly from the SD card. You can control it through UART serial, like from the GPIOs of the ESP32 or the Arduino or whatever. Okay, let's hop into the wiring example, connection example of the Max 98-35-7. So the VIN goes to the 3 volts, ground goes to the ground, SD to the SD, digital in this case GPIO 22, the bit clock GPIO 26, and the left-right clock to the GPIO 25. As for the gain settings, when it's not connected, it's 9 decibels. If we connect it to the ground, it would be 3 decibels, which is lower volume. And if we connect it to the 3 volts or the 5 volts, depending on the MCU you have, it would be 15 decibels, which is high volume. 9 decibels, it's good for most applications, which is the default. 3 decibels if the audio is a little too loud and you need to lower it, and 15 decibels if you need more volume, but the audio would probably be distorted. But if you want to control the gain through code, you connect the gain to one GPIO into the MCU you're using, and in code you can set it up to high if it's 3.3 or 5, or too low. For example, in here, like we're using the GPIO 21, so we set the pin mode to output, and if we set it too high, it will be 15 decibels. If we set it too low, it will be 3 decibels. So also you can connect that to an encoder or a button or something to control the gain through the MCU. Now we move on to the DF player, which is much easier to pronounce than the other module. It's, as we mentioned earlier, it's a small MP3 module. It can play audio files from a micro SD card, MP3 or WAV files. Can also be controlled by the ESP32 through UART. So here's the pinout of the DFPlayer Mini. To control it through UART, yeah, you use it has an RX and a TX pins. You connect them to the opposing parts and opposing pins in the ESP or whatever module you have. Just note that connecting it to the connecting the RX to the TX, you need to use a resistor, example 1 kilo ohm resistor, to avoid damaging the DF player or the ESP. You need to format the micro SD to FAT32 file format. The namings are like a bit specific, it has to be numbered. But yeah, in this example, we connect the VCC to the 3 volts or the 5 volts if that's what you have. We connect the RX and the TX to the UART pins on the ESP32. We connect the ground to the ground, and we connect the speaker 1 and speaker 2 to the speaker. It's a simple schematic. There exists a library for controlling this module through code in Arduino. It's the DFPlayer Mini library. It has simple functions like play, pause, volume, next, etc. Then that's a wrap. We've covered both of the Max 98357A, and I got it properly this time, and the DFPlayer Mini MP3 module. 2 awesome ways to add sound to your ESP32 project, which is, I'm focused on the ESP32 projects because that's what I am going to be using them for. They can be probably used for other projects or as standalone, like the DFPlayer Mini, but I would be using them for future projects using the ESP32. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, make sure to hit